census enumeration. So census enumeration means it's studying of total population, not few, not leaving anyone. So you might have heard census of India. Once in 10 year it would be conducted. So after every 10 years, 2011 last census was conducted, and in 2011, so next census enumeration will come. So here census means each and every person will be met, or each home, they will go to each home in each city, even if it is rural or whatever area it may be. Okay, so everywhere they will go, they will meet each house and they will collect information from them. So complete enumeration. No home or house or person is left here. Okay, they meet everybody and they collect the information. If you take another example, suppose if you want to study the students of Keli Prerna College. So in Keli Prerna College, in your college, around 400 students are there. Okay, so suppose roughly the number is 425 students altogether. So in census enumeration means all 425 students are met and collected information from them. Not to even 424. All 425 students are met and information is collected from them. So that is census enumeration. Though that is called as a complete enumeration of each and every unit of the population. Complete enumeration of each and every unit. So no unit is left here. From each unit, the information is collected. So when it comes to population, every person who comes under our study. Okay. So if you want to know the status, the feedback of COVID patients, so how they felt in Karnataka. So throughout Karnataka, whatever number of COVID patients are there, meeting each person, not leaving anybody. So if suppose 1,25,000 COVID patients are there, meeting all 1,25,000 patients. So that is complete enumeration. When it comes to products, so complete enumeration means whatever number of products they produce in the factory, all products are studied manually. Okay, so the size, width, weight, so whatever specifications are there for that product, each and every product's specification will be checked. So that is complete enumeration. So it doesn't only applicable to the human beings, it may applicable to everything which comes under our study. It may be human being, it may be product, it may be thing, it may be trees, it may be animal, it may be plant. Okay, so all the things here are completely not leaving even single unit. All units are studied. That is complete enumeration of each and every population. So best example is population census of India. So once in 10 years they will conduct. Okay, so here where all homes, even in Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, and isolated places in cities also, all places they will go and they will collect information. Okay, and merits of this census enumeration. So merit is here, no unit is left behind. So each person will be met. So here accurate information can be collected. So first merit is accurate. Accurate information is collected, so which can be reliable, so anybody can trust easily. And second merit is the data are collected from each and every unit of the population. So from everybody, data will be collected here. Okay, and it provides the detailed study of all the units of population. So each unit, from each unit we are collecting the data means they will provide detailed study can be possible here. In-depth study will be possible. Detailed study. Okay, all units. So we can collect accurate information, and the detailed study is possible here. So because person to person, item to item, so their information may differ, their point of view may differ. So when we meet each person, so we can come to a better conclusion here. Okay, and the last one, census method is free from sampling error. So it is free from sampling error. So what is this sampling error? So sampling error which occurs when we collect or met a wrong sample. Okay, so if you know our population, the population may be of a heterogeneous in nature, and from the heterogeneous nature we have to collect information from homogeneous population, so which are belongs to our. So in that also again certain samples, certain units, they may be extremely abnormal or which are not useful to our study. Okay, so for example, so randomly I said select all even number roll numbers students. So 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever, whoever comes in that roll number. So just go to them and collect the information, the height of the student. And one student height is 7 feet, suppose. Then that result tells the average height of the students in college is 6 or more than 6 feet. It is not at all true. So that is a sampling error. So it occurs when wrong sampling is taken. Okay, and these are the merits. Next, demerits. Demerits. So first one is no sampling error are likely to be more in census enumeration. So non-sampling errors. Non-sampling errors are more. So again the same example. Sampling error if I select a wrong sample. Non-sampling error because of no samples. We meet each and every person. So when complete enumeration comes, without leaving single unit, we have to collect information from every unit. Again, if the one student height is 7 feet, so we have to include that student also. Then average is wrong. That is a disadvantage of census enumeration. So when in the sampling, it may also happen. In non-sampling, it no doubt it will happen if such extremely abnormal unit comes in the study. Okay, and second demerit, it requires more money and labor. Okay, so when if our area is a small, population will be small, then we can't spend much money and we don't need much labor. But think if area is large, so we are going to collect information throughout India. Our population, our units are scattered throughout India. Then we have to collect information from each and every unit, means we have to move around the India, entire country. Okay, so then it need more money and more labors to collect the information. One person can't go everywhere and collect information. Hardly one person collect information from a small city. That also takes several days. Throughout India means it may take several years. So here it need more money and more labors. Okay, and it is not possible in some circumstances where the universe is vast. Okay, where universe is vast, so big in area. Suppose to entire Asia we want to collect the information. It is highly impossible. We can't meet every person everywhere. Okay, so when area is too large, it is difficult to collect information. And while procuring the data, if the units are damaged, census enumeration is not suitable. So when you are collecting information, collecting data, okay, any units are damaged. That means if something happened to our respondent, then we may not collect information from that, whether what the ingredients he was giving, Okay, that we will miss here. So it may lead to some other results. That is also possible here. So these are the merits and demerits of census enumeration method. So once again, census enumeration means complete enumeration of each and every unit of the population. So sample survey means here we don't go to collect information from each and every unit. Instead, we select a few samples randomly and we collect information from those samples and will come to a result, and we assume that that result belongs to entire population. So if we take example where we can apply this, when area is large, so going and meeting every person is impossible, and population is infinite. In such cases we go for sampling method, sample survey. So we meet only selected units of the population. So that is sample survey. So here sample means it's the representative unit of the population. So what is our population? From that population we select few. So that sample represent the entire population. So for example, in a class, in your college you have more number of classes, around 5 to 6 classes you have, and each class are named by different name only. Okay, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, like that. Then for each class we will have one CR, class representative we call him. So if anybody invites your class, so your CR will go and he will represent that your class. What is your opinion? So you all cannot go to your principal sir to complain. What do? You will inform to your CR. CR will inform to class sir or teacher. Then that person will inform to principal. So here represent. So here sample means which represent the population, which is comes under our study, not entire population here again. Okay. So if my study is goes to just statistics students in Prerna College, okay, who all are taken statistics as their subject, they are only my population. Okay, in first year there are 13 students, so my population is 13 students only. Okay, so among 13 I may meet all 13% and collect information from them, or I may select randomly few students. So today whoever are attended class, so 6 students have attended the class, I collect information from the 6 students only. So that is sample. So you are the representative of Prerna College first year PUC statistics students. So here sample survey means not from all, from selected samples we collect the information. So it tells representative unit or a part or a portion of the population. Okay, representative unit or a part or a portion of the population is called sample, and enumeration based on that sample is called sample survey. Enumeration based on the sample is a sample survey. And this theory of sampling has been developed recently. This theory of sampling is developed recently. Earlier it was not there, and but it is not new also. It has developed recently, but it is not new also. Okay, and in our day-to-day life we have been using sampling theory without knowing about it. So in our day-to-day life also, what we are doing, we are using this sampling theory. Best example is your mom, your mother, while cooking rice, she will not check every grain in a grain of rice in the pot. So just taking 1 or 2 grains, she will check whether rice is boiled or not. Is it? So that is what sampling method, best example which we use in our day-to-day life. Okay, so many are there. Okay, then merits of this sample survey are, so first one, this method is require less labor and less money and less time. So first merit, less labor, less time and money also. Okay, so it is economical, we can say. It consumes less money, less labor, and less time. Within a short period of time, with the less money, we can collect the information and come to a conclusion here. Okay, and second merit is sample survey is more scientific. So it is more scientific. Why it is more scientific? Because like here, unlike census enumeration, here each units are not taken. The information from each unit is not collected. So when selecting the population, we can avoid extremely abnormal units which may affect our result. Okay, like student height. Only one student is 7 feet. We'll eliminate him. If one student is 3 feet, 2 feet, then we eliminate him. One student weight we are checking. Only one student is 200 kilo, and remaining all students are around 60 to 80 kilo. Then we can eliminate that 200 kilo student. Okay, so that is possible here. We can apply scientific method here, how to select the sample. So there are different methods. We will discuss them later. And this method is applied for those units which are destructive in nature. So it can be applied to those units where units are destructive in nature, and sample survey is free from non-sampling error. So this sampling method is free from non-sampling error. That non-sampling error means population enumeration, that census enumeration. So each and every units are met, information is collected. So if one unit is abnormal, it may spoil the entire result. So that possibility is not there here. So we can eliminate abnormal unit. Okay, then demerits. So the demerits are sample survey requires adoption of appropriate sampling method and appropriate methods of analysis. So here we are not collecting the information from everybody. So therefore here we have to select the sample. To select the sample, we have to apply a proper method. So by which method if we select the sample, it will be better. And after collecting the sample, how to analyze it? Because it is the result of few, not entire population. So if you select a wrong method, it may give a wrong conclusion also. So therefore, here it need experts, in other words. So experts can only tell which method to apply and which method of analysis should be used here. Okay, and second demerit is if population is too heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means not of same kind or not of same features they have or different characteristics. Okay, so then it is very difficult to collect the data, and use of sampling procedure is impossible. When the population is too heterogeneous, selecting sample is very difficult. Okay, so and sampling errors are part and parcel of sample survey. So in the sample survey, if you are conducting, sampling errors are more possible here. Okay, in the census method, non-sampling error is possible, and in the sampling survey, sampling error are more possible. Okay, so these are the merits and demerits of sample survey. Next comes pilot survey. So pilot survey means it is a survey which is conducted before conducting main survey. Okay, so here my main survey is collecting information from the students. So before collecting or going to students, I have to define from which students, where. So if I define KLE Prerna College students, then where they are available. Okay, how many students are there, when I can meet them, what all information I can collect from them. So that background study, that is called as what? Pilot survey. So which is conducted just before the main survey. Okay, So if a population is staying in a large place, so where all my required populations are available? At what time, if I go there, they will meet us and they will provide information. Okay, to whom if I met, my work will be easy. So consult department. So those all things we will collect here. So that is called as what? Pilot survey. So it is still survey conducted before any general survey is called pilot survey. Okay, then we go for sampling methods. So what are the methods of collecting samples? Sampling means collecting or selecting samples from the population. So here there are three methods of sampling. So first one, simple random sampling. Simple random sampling. Okay, so simple random sampling, it is just selecting. Here chances of selecting each and every unit is same, and even non-selecting chance is also same. Suppose 200 students are there. I want to collect information from 100 students. Then any 100 students may be selected here. So here purposefully I can't go a particular student and collect information from him. No. So randomly any student may be selected here. It may be done by taking the roll numbers. Okay. So just I pick the chits. Best method is in random sampling is putting the numbers, roll numbers of each and every student, selecting a few. Lottery system, which we can say. So lottery system is the best example for simple random sampling. Okay, and next comes systematic sampling. Systematic sampling, here sampling is done in a systematic way. So total how many population or units are there in our population, and from how many I can collect the information. So second one, systematic sampling. Okay, so in systematic sample, total n number of population are there. Suppose 1000 units are there in my total population, and I want to collect information from 200. Suppose. So which are those 200? So I will go here by applying a systematic method. Then 200 means after every how many students I can collect the information. Okay, after how many students I can collect. If I suppose I allot a roll number to all the students. If I selected first student, then my next student will be after how many students will come. Okay, so here simple formula we use. So we find the range here. Okay, range is equal to where k is equal to capital N divided by small n. So 1000 students are there. So among 1000 students, I want 200 students to respond to my study. So then 1000 divided by 200 is equal to 5. So after every 4 students, I will collect the information. So this is fixed. So 1000 students are numbered 1 to 1000, and randomly I will pick first number. From first 5 number, I will pick one number randomly by lottery method. Okay, I will put 1 to 5 number chits. I will select one chit. If that number is 2, suppose, then I go on adding 2 plus 2k plus, sorry, that is a plus k, a plus 2k, like that. So first student 1000 I written. Okay, so a is 5, so a is 2, then plus 5. Next 7th roll number plus 5, 12th roll number plus 5, 17th roll number 22, 27, 32, 37. So like that till 1000 I will select the samples. Okay, So each and all 200 are not selected by picking the chits here. Remember, all 200 students are not selected by picking the chits. Just only chit is picked first 5 students only. Okay, chits are picked for first 5 students only. Then onwards, I go on adding the range. So I can collect information from those samples only, not all. Okay, so this is systematic sampling. Next comes stratified sampling. So stratified sampling is it's a totally different way. Okay, here when population is heterogeneous, that is, or of different segments, then this method is applied. So stratified sampling is applied when population is heterogeneous, where more kinds of people are staying or living. Okay, then here each heterogeneous groups are made into homogeneous groups. That from the heterogeneous population, I made each group. Okay, so suppose in a society, when it comes to labor, different kinds of laborers are living. Gaundi, carpenter, painter, garage vehicle repairer, we can call them as a mestri. So if we divide them, everyone, so we divide them in their separate group. Carpenters, all carpenters group, all painters group, all mestris group. So like that here, all labor class, we divide them in a group. From each group, we select as what number of respondent we want. We can select from each group here. So I want 5 people from each group. Then from carpenter, I select 5 randomly by lottery method, or maybe by applying systematic method if it is too large. Then from painter, I select 5. From mestris, I select 5. From gaundis, I select 5. Okay, so like that here, from each group, I will select the sample and I will collect information from those samples only. Okay, that is what stratified sampling. Each heterogeneous group are divided into homogeneous group, and from those group that group is called as a strata, and from each strata the required number of samples are picked and information is collected from them. Okay, that is what stratified sampling is. Statistical error or sampling error. Or sampling error. Okay, so here statistical error means what? This here statistical error is difference between the estimated value and the actual value. So whatever value we have estimated for the population, and when we calculate collecting information from the sample, when we collect information, and we calculate the averages, standard deviation, whatever we want. So if is there any difference between those population and sample data, that information, that mean or average or deviation, that difference is called as what here? Statistical error. And why it happens? Causes of error. So causes of error are of 3 kinds. So first one, error of origin. Error of origin. So this is sampling error which we are discussing now. So error of origin, the errors that occurs due to improper definition of the statistical units. Defective questionnaire and wrong method of inquiry is called the error of origin. So here questionnaire may be wrong, so the question may be not right in the questionnaire, and wrong method of collecting data or inquiry. So which method to be adopted? Direct personal interview or indirect interview or observation or agency. So which method we have adopted? Whether that is good for that information or not. Whether the informants will give right information or not. So without doing much study, if we go for collecting the information, so that means here our origin from the beginning itself we are wrong. Even it is possible by wrong units. So in the college there are 400 students. Among them who are first year students and who are statistical students, we have to define them. Okay, we have to separate them. Then if you go to collect the information from them, so we will get right information. Otherwise we may get wrong information here. So that is error of origin. Okay, that occurs because of statistical defining the units and maybe questionnaire or maybe wrong method. And second one is error of inadequacy. Error of inadequacy. So error of inadequacy. Adequacy means sufficient. Okay, so that error occurs because of not sufficient samples. So it tells here the error that occurs due to incomplete data or insufficient data is called error of inadequacy. So here data is not enough. Maybe some persons may miss certain questions purposefully, or maybe some persons want to avoid some informations. Okay, so because of that here error of inadequacy will occur. It may be possible that because of wrong questionnaire also. So if we are not put certain questions which may give more information, then also this error may occur, error of inadequacy. Okay, so and third one, error of manipulation. Error of manipulation. Okay, so error of manipulation means here it occurs at the time of analysis, that is clerical work. Okay, so that is also called as clerical error. Error of manipulation is also called as clerical error because at the time of making analysis, the error is done by the clerical workers, the analyst. Okay, so maybe while feeding the information in the computer, or maybe while condensing the size of the data, making it smaller, that time also person may make mistakes or certain data, so which happens in your marks card, in SSLC marks card most of the time. So person scored 58 marks, but the student is confident that he will score more than 80 marks. Then he put for revaluation, then they say no, you score 85, by mistakenly your score printed as 58. So that is also possible. Okay, so these kind of errors are called as what? Error of manipulation. It is because of the human intervention. Who is doing that analysis work? Maybe feeding in the computer, or maybe by wrong method of analyzing the data, or putting in the tables. So in such methods they may commit mistakes here. Okay, and another one is there, biased error and unbiased error. Biased error and unbiased error. So what is biased error? Biased means which is done purposefully. Person know that our error is occurring. You don't avoid it and mute yourself there. Okay. So here biased error means error that occurs with the notice of the investigator are called biased error. So these errors are prejudiced. So they can be avoided, but cannot do anything here. Okay, so one can avoid them. The investigator know that he is doing the mistake. So his marks are in the papers are 85, but wrongly has typed as a 58. So the investigator can avoid it. No, you have written here 58. Actually, in the paper it is 85. So if he fails to do that, this error will continue. So these biased error can be prejudiced. They can be avoided. Okay, so person know here that is happening. Okay, so here chances are there one can avoid them. And unbiased error, here error occurs without the notice of the investigator. Nobody can control it. Okay, person is giving wrong information, but we don't know whether he is telling truth or not. So we can't do anything here. So errors that occurs without the notice of investigator are called as unbiased error. These error occurs due to chance cause which cannot be controlled. Okay, so this error cannot be controlled because they are without the notice of investigator will be happening. Okay, then comes next measures of errors. So measures of errors, there are two kinds of measures of errors. One is absolute error and another one is relative error. So absolute error is the arithmetic difference of actual value and estimated value. So actual value which we calculated after collecting the samples information, and we estimated certain figures already. Okay, the average height of the student will be 5.8 feet. We have estimated it. After collecting the information by measuring all the students, so all the samples, then the average height came to 5.5 feet. Then that difference 5.8 feet estimated, 5.5 feet actual figure. So difference is 0.3 is the actual error. Okay, and relative error. So relative error is the ratio of absolute error and estimated error. That is 5.5 feet divided by 5.8 feet is the relative error. Absolute error, relative error. Okay, so note, as the sample size increases, the sampling error decreases. How the number of sample increases, that sampling error will come down automatically. So one tells that go for more number of samples if it is not possible to do for census survey. Okay, then go for sampling, and in that sampling select more number of samples. So collect information from more samples, though, so error will be less here.